Now we're getting into what has been a very similar draft strategy as we get into the back half of this pick ban. It has been Yunara, it has been Kiana. Azir is going to make it through. Most importantly, that is going to be the first pick coming on through for a night, and there was no Bard. All of the support engage picks are gone now, so Lucian Braum immediately stands out in my mind.
Let's see if JackeyLove wants to go for that for top esports. It's interesting to see Nightlock in this Azir as we do get Lucian Braum, because a fun part of this split was a Knight starting to break out the playmaking ability of the Ziggs into this Azir. It'd be funny to see it turn onto him, but speaking of quick turns, how about that bottom lane swing from BLG?
This is tough. We're playing Kalista Renata. This is going to be a bot lane that is all-out brawls. We're going to see all-ins on level 2. We're going to hopefully see this JackeyLove Lucian pick really start to work out. And for this matchup to work, it is completely around Hong being able to land Winter's Bite. If they can't do it in the mid-game, expect for something a little bit spicier here. That was the Taliyah now being picked up. A matchup that we saw very early on into the year be very Taliyah favored. I wonder how it's going to look now with all of the changes that we have seen from now, from the beginning of January up into here. So second phase of draft, no junglers taken away. And I'm looking right now, we still have Skarner. We still have things like Sejuani that are up and available. Many things.
Yeah, so tough, even tougher pill to swallow here for Shadow coming in here down 2-1. Now, you have to watch your pool get pinched even further. The Kiana was already banned away. Popular respect's been paid all series long, but you see the Skarner come off the board. That is a champion Shadow likes a lot with BLG. Xin Zhao is a champion that's made it through a lot of these picks and first phases of drafts. Kanavi will not have access to that. I am still very intrigued to see what jungle looks like, all because now especially with Shadow in here, who I think has more of an ability to play the carry junglers. Kanavi coming off one of the greatest carry jungle performances we've seen all year, and more facilitators coming off the board. Are we just opening this up to see more carry junglers come out in this game 4?
The only one that I can think that comes to mind is Nefiri right now for Kanavi, and obviously Nefiri has been toned down since her split 2 dominance. We're also seeing again Xin Zhao taken away by BLG. Is this going to be the Nefiri? It's the Zed. Another champion that Kanavi has definitely been incredibly difficult to deal with.
Yes.
So here for BLG, are we going to get a Nocturne performance? That's kind of the last remaining jungle that we have seen from Shadow, at least in the regular season here. And what is a top lane pick here for Bin? We've gotten no Gnar here in this series. Gwen is a champion that completely fell out of the draft after Game 1 and Game 2. So what are the options?
Maokai is the hover. Vi is still hanging around here as well if you want to go for that single target lockdown, but they're instead going to lean into the peel here. So Shadow coming in on the Maokai, and he's going to play Protector. Gotta think this Maokai is trying to play as best of an answer into this Nefiri to make sure Kanavi does not run wild again and end this series.
Yeah, and this is such a weird pick because there is a lot of crowd control already coming in. Now, what does 369 go with? Because from what we've got from Top Esports, this feels like a composition that is a mid-ranger. They want to keep you at bay. They want to make sure that they can try to whittle away at you. Maybe they find a pick with a Taliyah flick, things of the nature. Now with a Cho'Gath, that really feels like that identity is accentuated. You're going to have the Cho'Gath knockup alongside the Feast to not only deal with Yorick, but any other potential contenders. And for BLG, this is a composition that is so heavily gated around range. Not only just Renata and her kind of range to auto attack, but what can Knight do when you have a Renata and a Maokai at your back providing you with peel and assistance? This has to be another performance where we are looking either at Knight or at Elk to step up, and that has been the biggest question so far that has yet to been answered so far in this series.
And another big question that Alk Battery asked when he used his fortune teller presence to see the Shadow pick coming through was, does this solve the mid gap? We'll have to see here, like you mentioned, with this Azir coming through B1 and having to be the one to do a majority of the work to keep BLG not just alive in this series, not just alive for another chance at back-to-back grand finals, but Alk, for a chance to go straight to Worlds. It is dwindling by the minute. Can BLG save themselves with another carousel switch in the jungle?
Top Esports can only auto-qualify if they win the entire thing. If BLG are able to make it happen, send us to 5, and win tonight, they would auto-qualify as the first team from the LPL to go to Worlds 2025. And it starts here. It starts with the man in the jungle. It starts with Knight having to stand up, and with BLG trying to fight back in this series.
And all before all of that, the BLG fandom and their Gyos loudest as possible.
Bilibili fans, cheer for the faith. Make your voices heard, whether it is in Twitch chat or it is there in Shenzhen. The AI thinks that BLG will win if this game goes later than 30 minutes. Top Esports do have a lot of playmaking in the early game. And I have got to say, Slayer, this series is already delivering. We've got massive 1v9 performances. We've had games thrown from a mid-game advantage. We've seen games reclaimed from a mid-game throw. We're getting every single bit of drama here, and that's exactly what we expected between Top Esports and Bilibili.
And as not BLG fans, not as Top Esports fans, but fans that have a love for the game, the only thing that could be the cherry on top of a series like this would be all 5 games. See if BLG can get over the hurdle and make sure we get there towards Silver Scrape. So we are a long ways away from there. For now, we'll focus in on these clears because we have another jungle matchup where the champions are pretty diametrically opposed to how they want to approach, especially this early game in this Maokai versus Nefiri.
Does Nefiri end up with both of them starting on the same side of the map? JackeyLove, that heal gives them enough movement speed to get away from them. Imagine with a little bit more MS, it was something that they could try to go for. Level 2 is going to be earned first here by Elkin on. Very, very strong 2v2 here, so Top Esports, they're going to have to at least cede priority for now. What I wanted to talk about before was what does Kanavi do here? Because Maokai really can't duel all that well versus Nefiri. I think very important that Shadow did opt for the phase rush here in this matchup. Gonna have to just get in and immediately get out, especially with the builds that we've been seeing from Maokai, more opting into the AP variants and trying to utilize those saplings, which are so important for controlling portions of the map.
Oh, here we go. New jungler, same Kanavi. And he is looking to catch Shadow on his clear, or maybe go for a bot lane gank that wasn't spotted. This is the power of the Fear with that dash over the wall. There was no heal. There was no flash on Elk. He's already used it. Trying to get the dogs to hunt down onto Elk. They're going to target on instead. Flash comes across, and the pack cannot finish off that kill. But that is both flashes off the BLG bottom lane within the same 10 seconds.
And more importantly here for JackeyLove, it's about getting this wave in because it is pushing away, and Elk has so much more HP than his counterpart. There is no barrier here for JackeyLove. Kanavi says, I can't help anymore, guys. You're just going to have to either take a recall or suck it up because I have an entire bot side quadrant that I still have to contest for. Seeing the picture-in-picture how those flashes were lost. It is On who's able to move, and Hong, I don't think you're going to be able to do too much here. So let's just get Kanavi his clear. Let's get towards that top side of the map.
Trying to go for the hero steal onto that scuttle, and now Shadow wants to look for that engage. He's got Elk in position. Hong, a head-scratching first blood. The first blood of this series, not claimed by Kanavi.
There we go. Doing already great. Shadow staying for the rest of the series, guys. I can guarantee that. Maybe not. But will mean that in terms of Kanavi trying to get his own lead, he is down a full level early on because Kanavi did try to go for that play bottom side. And Shadow now gets double scuttle and almost double Kanavi CS very early. I like this start here for Shadow.
It's really integral to survive these early levels and just get to that nature's grasp and be able to affect as that facilitator. So glad you called out the fact that he is ahead of the curve compared to Kanavi. What can they do to continue to push this lead? Because BLG are once again in that spot where you saw with the the AI super server factored in. They can look to kind of play pretty comfortably. They don't need to really rush the pace of this game. Don't mind buying time for Bin to settle into this matchup, get the maiden up, start being a side lane threat, and of course, get Knight into that spot you always want with the Azir, getting 2 or 3 items down and just letting his range sing through here for BLG.
Good start here for BLG though, winning the bot lane matchup, or at least getting themselves a nice advantage in the 2v2. Jungle is slightly muted, not completely out of order quite yet. And for
this wave state
top esports, as we get into later fights, even around this first dragon that's here, or the grubs that are in 2.5 minutes, you are basically reliant on either a Winter's Bite tag by Hong, or you are looking for Talia to get a combo down here. Not able to get those stuns. That is the entire crux of this matchup. If you can't get that stun, the Winter's Bite does very little after that. Got to get those concussive blows to come on down.
Speaking of coming on down, hello Kanavi, welcome back to the bottom lane. It's once again eluded the vision. The BLG trying to set up here. Shadow going to finish off those Krugs, and Kanavi still trying to play around with this fog. But he's not going to look for the bot lane angle. Instead, Shadow's going to be spotted in that tri-brush. Kanavi just trying to poke and make sure the dragon is there as Knight does dash forward, goes for the Emperor's Divide onto Creme, but Kanavi is here to cover for his mid laner. Again, as it's been all series long, Knight cannot buy a 1v1 against Creme early, and it may not have been first blood AUG, but it's the 4th game in a row that Kanavi has killed off Knight in the 2v1.
Maokai's going to grab himself, or at least start up the dragon. They can move their bottom lane. Maybe Shadow gets pulled off of here, and they try to force JackeyLove to miss out on part of the wave. Really, really clean stuff. You see that BLG, they can even move forward here.
He's separated from one, but no
he got body blocked!
Holy moly, minion block! JackeyLove has to flash. Looks like the minions even want BLG to go to game 5 here, and Shadow's trying to propel them further. The shield comes down just in time for the Ren to come through for Elk.
That is a disgusting BLG minion. We gotta get him a pay raise. Maybe that guy's coming in for Shadow's job if they're not able to win this game. That was a tough look there for top esports. You get the flash out from JackeyLove. Hong ends up dying for a 2nd time in this game. Elk has to make it happen on this Kalista at this point. So much available to him in this draft, and it was going to rely on whether the mid or the AD carry of BLG could stand up to top esports. Not able to do all that much, and especially with that kill in mid lane, meant that Creme did have access to the Weaver's Wall, could have answered that play if they wanted it.
Next play is already rolling through here. Is Kanavi feeling comfortable to just solo out this dragon? Grubs are about a mere 10 seconds away. We're seeing the swaps finally start to come through here for BLG. Ong going to use that spellbook to TP up towards the top side. They've got 369 in the 2v1, and what is that mostly doing here for BLG? Allowing them to set up for 3 grubs, but TES are making a long march up towards the top side here, and they're going to get the flick back on the Knight. Not really any real damage, though. It should be the grub still coming across. 369 needs to respect the 2v1, though. He nearly flashes into the handshake. Still a flash burn nonetheless.
That's impressive. One of the important parts of this matchup in topside is about saving your ultimates here. For Bin, if he pops down the Maiden, the Feast from Cho'Gath immediately one-shots her. But as long as you're saving that ability, it means that 369 can't use it on minion waves or even use it on objectives here. So 2 grubs going over to BLG, and now Bin taking over this bottom lane. He gets another wave for himself. BLG starting to eke out a pretty meaningful advantage here in this series, or in this game alone. And good control around objectives, strong play from the bottom lane. This is what we were looking towards when we were talking about Elk versus JackeyLove.
Such a weird spot to be in, because we're so used to this from BLG, getting up this much gold early. This is the first time this series they've really gotten an early lead and been in a spot to say, all right, what can we do to expand on that? Despite the fact that they have a game win, if you're joining in late, I can help you reminisce. Game 1 was all comeback mechanic for BLG. They really have been able to lead early, so to see them in this spot, it's normal given the split 3 circumstances, but not normal to the series we're currently in the upper bracket.
It's not even just the series. I mean, when else in all of LPL regular season have we seen Knight getting repeatedly throughout series focused in lane and getting targeted, as well as also falling? Usually Knight is pretty decent about being able to survive the ganks for the most part. JackeyLove getting traded upon.
Can they get the handshake to pull him away from the turret? No, they can't get him out of the aggro, and Hogs in a snap engage. Elk takes a turret shot. Glacial Fish are going to knock him up, and Elk and On overextend themselves, and just like that, their 2v2 lead explodes.
Creme can't even get here in time. Use the Weaver's Wall, has to go right back into mid lane. Nothing else that BLG can do to answer. It'll be another wave missed here. Elk and On losing summoner spells. Maybe Top Esports can grab themselves a plate. No, they're going to reset and be ready for this timer. They've got to rotate again. Dragon spawns in 2.5. And Kanavi, he's got stuff to do. He's got a dinner date ready for after this series.
Might want to just set up a function under this tier 2 turret, tier 1 turret. Let's get looking back though at Elk and On just over-aggressing, thinking they have the ability to pull JackeyLove away from this turret. I don't know what to make of this.
I mean, this was a fine trade for the most part, but Elk tanking turret shots. On maybe even might have to just trade his life. Elk and On thought that they could do a little bit more. I know. Coach Homie is incredibly stressed with how this is looking. Bin's dead.
Bin. Yep. Sayonara. There's the Rupture knockup and Kanavi's second kill. BLG, what? I mean, we were propping up this lead. We're like, all right, finally, maybe we can see someone else support Knight, help BLG out of these early deficits they're always in. And just like that, they're basically back to ground zero.
Point in this series that we have seen repeatedly and we have talked about here on the broadcast during playoffs is support first items. Hong in every one of these games has gotten his redemption before On multiple times and sometimes multiple minutes before his opponents. Now Shadow loses a flash because JackeyLove and Creme were almost about to make a play. JackeyLove's flash is coming back up and the calling is going to be up and available here. So even with this gold lead, I don't think there's anything here for BLG aside from a Raptor camp. They're trying to starve Kanavi out of the jungle, but I think Baytron was doing a much better job of making sure that he was even with his counterpart, at least in the more playable games, barring game number 3.
Yeah, we don't talk about game number 3 anymore. All right, if we want this to go 5, that game 3 needs to be redacted from memory for now. Let's talk, though, about some first item power spikes coming across here. I mainly want to focus on the Profane Hydra for Kanavi that's seen a lot of buffs. And you see these carry junglers leaning on a bit more. And also the fact that JackeyLove has the Essence Reaver. Lucian, we've seen a lot of scalers take over the AD meta. We've had conversations about 3 items, 4 items. But no, we're finally arriving on those Snowbally-esque champions. And JackeyLove getting the Essence Reaver done is going to really help this Lucian push out a lot of damage in the mid game.
Will also just mean that right now to be able to contest on mid-wave, it's a lot more difficult for Elk to properly walk up. No Blade of the Rune King available to him. None of that slow and movement speed boost that he would have access to normally. Let's see that right now. BLG trying to play between 2 spots right here. They want to walk into Dragon. They want to try to contest. They have Maokai Ultimate. All of these buttons that they can press. Knight is also going to make his way over. But because they didn't contest and because they weren't able to get vision deep enough, they're missing out on this mid-wave. Top Esports get to start on this first. Maybe they just try to trade instead of the Dragon. Go for Bin. Does 369. He uses the Feast. They will not have that secure.
Solo Crab going to spawn. BLG going to take control of it. It's going to be Shadow to smite it away. Hong takes a good lick of damage to start, but does have the heal in his back pocket. It's BLG, though, with the saplings and the vision that do have control of this Drake pin. They're going to be looking to start, but here comes the reversal from Creme. Elk is sectioned off for the rest of the team, and the flick back lands on to On, and he uses the bailout just to buy time. 369 flashes himself back out of safety. Kanavi uses the ult to go right on top of Elk. Remember, he was pushed out of the fight, and now he's pushed back towards his fountain as Creme continues to land CC after CC, and BLG are falling one at a time. It's only Knight with the Emperor's Divide to find some form of salvation. But even that, salvation doesn't mean any kills. Those all go to Top Esports.
I love this pull and tug that we're getting from these 2 teams here. Not only have we talked about the interaction between our 2 top laners' ultimates, but really it is a game of chicken. Who is going to pull the trigger first on some of these fights? Are you going to be able to step forward? I think Shadow needed to either use his ultimate more proactively or get something to happen. Look at this knockup. On is unable to use the keeper or this ultimate. There is no hostile takeover coming on through, and the fight is completely split up here. JackeyLove and Kanavi get right onto Elk. There is no ability for BLG to walk forward. Nothing from Knight to be able to stop this ultimate. He uses the ultimate to push Kanavi away. After this, Coach Homie and the rest of Top Esports looking incredible here in this game number 4. Shaky laning phases be damned. They are playing to their advantage, and Kanavi now gets to just run through this game roughshod.
So glad that we got to see Kanavi lean right back into that carry-oriented jungle pick. He doesn't care who the jungler matching up on the other side of him is. All even for the rest of these playoffs, you throw Shadow at him, you throw Beichuan, it doesn't matter. The way this guy's playing, no one can stop him except maybe the defending champion jungler. It feels like he has a date with Destiny in as the culling drops through. Elkin on very low. It's going to be the redemption that sets up for the Rift Herald take. So Shadow gets the smite down. But getting the Rift Herald itself is a whole other challenge. Shadow, you cannot throw this game away for the Herald. It's the hostile takeover. Sideways hit from On into the Emperor's Divide. Finally, Knight makes an impression on this series. JackeyLove and Creme are out of the fight. 369 looking for a feast, but he doesn't have enough damage. It's Kanavi to rescue one back. Finds the kill on the Shadow. Goes unstoppable. How much work can Kanavi do? No, he can't even find a trade kill. It's Knight again. Finally, the golden left hand brushes off the rust and saves BLG from the brink of destruction.
Let's get a recall in, boys, because we have got a fight and a game here in game number 4. Finally, a series where we see these two, and there is so many different ways that these two teams can control objectives. 369 with his feast, and more importantly for Elk, even if this Kalista is not going to be as useful in fights, it is about having access to the rend here. Top Esports, I think you just need to be able to give here. This engage from On makes up for what was a lost fight around the dragon. If Talia does not have flash or she cannot react in time, that's a free kill going over to BLG. Those are the 2 carries falling. Multiple kills for BLG, not only for Knight, but for Elk as well. And this was a massive investment. That was a teleport from 369. Now we got to get into a spot here, Slayer. When we get back to live, it'll be 2.5 minutes before that Otacon spawns. And you're going to have a Cho'Gath Feast, Kanavi Smite versus Elk and Shadow.
Otacon, such a huge buff that we've talked about endlessly this LPL Split 3, and really all year with the changes it's seen. And so many LPL series have been thrown at the Otacon, and you may be asking yourselves, how do I approach the Otacon better? Well, it's best to learn from the pros themselves, and that's why we want to shout out once again our sponsor, ProDiff.gg. You can use 10%, get 10% off with LPL 10 to learn sweet moves like this on how to use a Rift Herald, set up for Otacon properly, and bring your solo queue rank up. As we see Hong look for the engage on to Shadow. A huge choke coming across here for BLG. Redemption going to be able to stave off a lot of the early damage from Bilibili.
Oh my god. Kanavi was doing a hell of a lot of damage. That flash from Shadow basically saves him in this play. But now we're in a spot. On.
Flick back. No hostile takeover. Picked off again, just like the big fight won for TES, and they want more. They're hungry, feasting to chomp down on BLG, and Shadow without flash is the next one to see a stone and a wolf pack hunt him over the wall.
Minute before this dragon spawns would be soul point here for Top Esports. Let's get this mid-tier 1. Let's use that demolish on 369. How will BLG be able to enter into Fog of War? There are no wards on this bottom side jungle for them, and there'll be buttons that'll be very important for TES to play with as we get closer to this objective. Maybe they don't even play for the dragon. Honestly, Slayer, with their lack of abilities and some of these ultimates, I might expect that Top Esports will drop this. Maybe they play towards the bottom side of the map. More important to spread yourself away and look towards the Otacon in 1 minute time.
At least for now, it looks like they're starting to get items on even keel footing between both sides. Flicker Blade done for JackeyLove to match the Rage Blade out from Elk. Got 2 items, a lead for Kanavi in items and a lead for Knight in items, something we haven't been able to say all series long. Gotta watch how those 2 leads interact as the stance for the dragon is set up. This would be Ocean Soul for Top Esports at around 20 minutes, a huge win con for them to get, but they are losing control rapidly of the river, and 369 is dropped in the play place. Gonna get the knockup, flash himself back out of safety, slippery stones, making sure nobody can fall 369, but the roots of the tree of Maokai follow. Hostile takeover, all of it to get 369. Kanavi goes in looking for the trade, cooling off to the side from JackeyLove, but none of the kills are coming through. Shadow's the first one to fall. Creme has to flash back, but Bin is hunting him down with the maiden. Kanavi's gonna re-engage though. Bin's gone too far forward, and Kanavi will not let him get away with it. Fate sealed, throw throws on into the next waiting arms, and Kanavi gets himself the triple kill. Kanavi looking for the highlight moment to end BLG's season, but Knight says, hell no! Bow down to the might of the gold left hand, and BLG!
3-0 triple kill for Elk here. He is putting spears into the back of Top Esports. That'll be the Dragon. Top Esports make a massive mistake. BLG will not be able to grab themselves the Otacon. It's a teleport from 369. I thought there was plenty of mistakes there, but Top Esports are unable to finally put the nail in the coffin into Knight. He was using that range exquisitely in that fight, and this is exactly the game number 4 that the fans deserve. This starts off with what I thought was a mistake, because On brings 369 out of the dark procession. Lock up on the one side, Knight sends it forward, but Kanavi is firing. He is unable to be touched in this. It is just a simple knockaway by Shadow that keeps him safe. It is all about extending fights here for BLG. Can we allow for Kanavi? Can we allow for Elk and Knight to fire away at their opponents? It is so hard to play Kalista into a Talia, an unraveled Earth. Look at that picture-in-picture right now. We are going to the Baron. No flash on JackeyLove, no flash on Creme.
The Otacon below half HP. Guys, this replay isn't that worth it because the engage is coming out from BLG. Otacon aggro going to get dropped here. Hong trying to use a Glacial Fissure to buy some space. Bin has to flash over a seismic shove look from Creme. And Otacon has reset nearly to full HP. BLG still hurting from the resistances. This big bad buff drops off, but with the Rend available and that Rend smite, they feel like they have enough control to try and burn through it. Do TES want to gamble basically this entire game on looking for the Otacon? It's only Hong that's able to step up, makes a good cage. Kanavi can't get in. Hong steals the Otacon with the seal spellbook smite. How does he get away with that into the red smite from BLG?
We were setting up that you have Kalista for the Rend. That is all she can do in mid-game. BLG, critical error in this mid-game. What the hell is going on between these two teams? We've seen throws, we've seen dominant early games, but this game number 4 is back and forth. The Otacon goes over to Hong. How does he doesn't even have it, by the way, at the start of this. He needs to be out of combat. He has to wait 5 seconds here. Q, 2200, 19, 17, 184. 184. I don't even know what to say. How do you get diffed? This was not even the starting support for Top Esports of the year. We had Crisp on this roster. He gets sent off into Weibo. So many questions about if Hong was going to be able to perform.
Oh no. Shadow may be caught here. Nature's Grass dropped. Weaver's wall gonna try and sex people off. The cooling has to come down from JackeyLove to try and protect Hong. Hong and Shadow very low, but it's Knight over the wall. Trying to throw Sand Soldiers, but he gets thrown up. Good stasis to get away from that flick back. Can Kanavi get in? No, the heals, the shields, they're too much. And Knight is done messing around in this series. And he wants blood paid back to him in full. And Kanavi will burn down. Knight has finally arrived to this series for BLG.
There it is, and that should be what feels like the nail in the coffin for this game number 4. BLG have constantly been pressing onto Top Esports. They've been getting all of their summoner spells, and even with Kanavi getting as close as he can, even with miracle steals from Hong.
Elk! Oh my god. Oh, he gets knocked up though! Chomp! Bailout! See ya later, Elk. Again, pushing his lead and limits too far.
Oh, Knight's also trying to do it. He's going to try and get some revenge onto his JDG kinfolk. 369 gets to 100 HP, but does not fall here. The carries of BLG have needed to make it happen. They have been absent in some of these other games. And now we get some time to breathe here, Slayer. There's not another objective for at least 40 seconds. Baron will be spawning, and 20 after that will be the Dragon. JackeyLove is so far behind. Creme is so far behind, but their flashes will be up for this next fight, and it has to be here where either Top Esports make a stand and end this series, or BLG, they send us to that lovely, incredible Game 5.
Where can they make it happen? They're waiting on those flash timers as the Baron hits the rift once more. glad you pointed it out, Alk, and I want to sing it further home. The gold leads are one thing, but just look at the difference in items, especially Knight able to complete that Zhonya's. So this burst-oriented comp for TES can get stalled out, and the longer fights go, the bigger and badder Knight gets here. As we see the TP come across from Hong to try and join with the rest of the team. They're trying to find any way to maneuver themselves back towards this Baron, but it's becoming tougher and tougher.
Looking at items here, Kanavi is on 3. I'm kind of confused as to why there is a heart steal at 25 minutes, 21 stacks here, or 21 HP from 369. If there's ever a time for us to maybe call out for a useless Cho'Gath, it might be here. BLG will grab access to this second dragon here. 2 Ocean Drakes. Still a huge lead. Look at Elk here with triple items. Same thing with Knight. No Infinity Edge completed for JackeyLove. That feels like it's going to be the next breakpoint for Top Esports if they want any ability to be able to contest BLG in this game number 4. And a reminder for what this means going into Worlds. BLG, a win here automatically qualifies them either as the first or the second seed, at the very least, going into Worlds 2025. Top Esports, even with a win tonight, would have to win the entirety of Split 3 in order to auto-qualify.
And knowing all of that and how important it is for Top Esports to keep their auto-qualification alive, it has been utter dominance the past 2 years from BLG. They are 5-1 in best-of-5 formats up against Top Esports. Their only lone loss, funnily enough, Alk, was 3-1 in Split 1 playoffs. The same score the Top Esports, trying to make another comeback, are looking to attain to keep that lifeline alive to head directly to Worlds.
So we take a look at this setup. It's really tough for Top Esports to break this line. A Seer turret as well is going to make it even more difficult for them. Kanavi can sneak into the back line. We can maybe see something, but for Top Esports, their entire composition is that mid-range that we were talking about from Draft. Can they make a pick onto a single member? Can the Unraveled Earth provide to be enough of a nuisance for some of the players here, some of the champions on BLG? They're going to start this up. Your Srens have to be true. Shadow, you have to be able to land this.
Have to be able to hit your smite key. They're going to try to trade the Baron for maybe Bin. Here comes Weaver's Wall. Kanavi's in the pin. Does he have another steal in him? No! Shadow finally secures this Baron. Gets the Ren down, and BLG have the Baron, but they're looking for more. They want to end this game now as Elk uses the Fate's Call to throw on in, and Elk is dipping, dashing, and dodging all around TES on their backline. Creme and Kanavi can't even find the kill on the Shadow, and they can't knock down Knight. The LPL English Split 3 MVP shows up in the witching hour. Ace to BLG. Bring on Game 5. Bring me Silver Scrapes.
That's what we wanted to see, and there was no other way this series could have ended. It could not have been without a 3-0, a 3-1. It had to be 5 games for a spot in the grand finals. BLG have arrived, 7-1-7 for the man in the mid lane. Let's go ahead. Let's get that game number 5.
40 champions off the board, LPL finals, Worlds contention, all on the line as we are tied up 2-2 in the upper bracket.
Let's get excited. Shadow, you deserve a grin on your face. There is nothing but drama here. Really making the BLG fans sweat for this win here tonight. Gotta go to 5, man. BLG, they started off the playoffs reverse sweeping Jindong Gaming, an unlikely adversary for them. The 3-1 domination versus IG. And they come into this series off the back of a miracle win in game number 1, a game 2 that was not particularly as dominant from them, a game 3 slacking from Kanavi. And now here, game number 5.
Game 5 is soon to come, but to set us up for that, there's no one better than our awesome analyst. Oh, actually, we're not going straight to...
They get to have a break?
Okay, we're giving breaks.
All right, yeah, we got Silver Scrapes. That's right.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's right. We're going to hear from the analyst desk, but before we do that, we are going to do the most famous and most ceremonious thing competitive League of Legends ever has. All you know what's coming. Enjoy the Game 5 setup, Silver Scrapes, coming your way now.